Do. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? And this is the Sports is My Love Language podcast. And this is your boy Dropping Dimes, and I'm here with my crew. We got my boy Javito. We got the ref Sean Smith. We got the first lady Jen Vega. We got Pablo L. Schefter, and we got Dre Day ready to rock. We're waiting on a kill. Hopefully he chimes in with us. We got a really cool show tonight. The first half is a little serious. It's about a particular topic that it's in the news. We all definitely have our own approach, our own viewpoints on what we're going to talk about. And the second part is, I would call it lighthearted, but believe it or not, I think you guys are going to be very amused. And I'm asking for a lot of audience participation. Join in, help us out with the second part of the topic. So, with that said, we're going to lead into the show. The first part is this. Recently in the news, right, like every year during this time, there is a whole thing about sports where at the end of the year, the athletes decide to make business decisions. And they say, we're not going to participate at the end of the year bowl games. Now, in past years, it's kind of gone overlooked. It happens, whatever. For some reason, this year, the media outlets have kind of like targeted these guys and kind of come at them or made like suggestions or kind of said things about them. And yesterday during the pre-production, somebody really came in with a really good point. And they were like about the hypocrisy of the coaches and the NCAA. But I don't want that to sway your decision. I want you to give us your point of view. What are your thoughts on players, skipping out on a bowl game, and B, what are your thoughts on the whole situation with coaches in the NCAA? Javi, what you got?
So I don't have a problem with players basically opting out to play not to play the bowl games. Why? Because that means they're making a business decision at that bowl game, right? It's just basically comes down to, do I not ruin maybe a couple of $1 million for this one game? Or, do I just want to or play this game, maybe win the bowl. Let's just say if it's a championship game, obviously, there's more there's more of a prestige to it. But a lot of these bowl games are just bowl games that don't really mean anything anymore. So unless you're the top 4 teams that are basically going to compete for a national championship, I just don't see why, I all these other players, all these other schools that are just whatever bowl it is, that's just going to be the one-off and that's it. Man, if I'm one of those guys that are going to be drafted in the first or second or third round, even 4th, 5th, or 6th, I'm opting out. Like, thank you, school. Thank you for everything. It's been great, but my life has always been, geared to be a professional. So, you know what? Kudos to the kids that are basically making those decisions and making adult decisions at this moment, basically at a young stage of their life. Now, as far as the coaches, I mean, they've been doing it for a while. I know within the past couple of weeks, we've seen a couple of coaches basically just take through head coach jobs. The one that boggled my mind a little bit was the one from Notre Dame, but I guess he just figured, hey, we're not going to be in the top 4, so I might as well just jump ship right now and take on the LSU job, and that's Brian Kelly. And you know what? He's going to make more money, and he's going to have more opportunities to win a national championship. And this is not the first time that's ever happened either. So you know what? I don't have a problem. The coaches basically doing this, and I don't have a problem players at this moment basically making a business decision. Because you know what? That college degree is great. Nobody's saying that, stay throughout the whole time. Let's just say it's a senior or something like that. But, even if it's a junior, man, just go make those millions first, man, because this is the only opportunity you might have. And don't risk it off of one game.
True. Yeah. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so now I'm going to give you from 2 different perspectives. Now, so I know it's kind of crazy, but I'm kind of on the fence here because as a player, yes, if I'm a player that's about to sign $1 million contract, be a high draft pick, do I want to risk getting hurt for a lousy bowl? Yes, but as a fan, like you say, you're one of these top 4 teams now, and you're a player on one of these top 4 teams, and you have a chance to win a national championship. Like, where do you draw a line? And this is where money and collegiate sports or any kind of school sports, there has to be a line drawn somewhere, because, like I said, you're a top 4 team now, and then your best players opt out of these games. Like, that sucks. Like, you have a chance to win a national championship, but from a player perspective, it's a business decision. I get it. You got to get what's yours. But from a fan's perspective, I think it sucks. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. When does it trickle down to, like I said, keep going down the line to high school sports doing this eventually down the line? You see it all the time now. It happens in NBA. Guys sit out games, right? Guys sit out games because they need a day's rest and this and that, while fans are paying tickets to these. And I get it. People need rest. They need all this time. But as a fan, it sucks. As a business, as a player decision, I get it. That's my perspective on the whole thing. As far as the coaches, it's all for the early recruitment, and I get that. They got to get the leg up. That's something maybe they could sanction down the road where, but these contracts, how many years does a good college coach get to turn the program around? These days, it doesn't last long. They have to win right away. And when you're not getting those early recruits, that's almost a business decision on the coach's end too. So, business, when you put business aspect of collegiate or any kind of scholastic sports, it's a black eye for me. That's my opinion.
Okay. Jen, what's your thoughts?
So first of all, if I keep looking to the side or talking to the side, I have my daughter with me tonight, so she's in the room. She may actually join us for our last 2 segments. We'll see. Anyway, I am 100% on board with Sean with this one. At first, I was like, those jerks, how dare they? But at the same time, if you know you're going to be drafted in the first 2 rounds because you have those statistics, then go for it. But when it comes to 3, 4, 5, and so on, that bowl game can make a difference for your contract if your team wins. Even in just the first round, you're going to see your first pick and your last pick have a 60% difference in what they can possibly get for a contract. So that win could make a huge difference in the end for what you could possibly be getting. But at the same time, like I said, if you have the stats, go for it. As for the coaches, I look at it from a freshman, sophomore perspective, where if you drafted because of that coach and he leaves, it's a huge letdown. Especially if he's one of the main reasons that you were drafted. As a student and as a player, I think having a coach leave would affect me more personally, because you look at that coach as the backbone of your program. And for them to basically just say, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to go get the money. It feels like a slap in the face. But your players are seeing your coaches doing this, and they're going to be like, well, if they can jump ship, why can't I jump ship? So there's definitely a double-edged sword to it. But yep, that's what I got.
Pops, what are your thoughts?
So here's my thing on it. Anyone that looks at college sports with the perspective of amateurism, spirit, rah-rah, is about 25 years behind. This stopped being that a long time ago, and it's been a business for all these years. So when coaches get to make decisions, conferences, school officials, they get the TV deals, they build networks, SEC network, Texas Longhorn network, so on and so forth, get that money in. But the moment a player has an opportunity to do something for themselves, which is compared to the coaches and administrators and colleges, is nothing, is minuscule compared to what they can do, the millions that they can bank. It's minuscule. So now let's break down these players that decide to opt out for a bowl. Generally speaking, I'm with Javi. It's a business decision. Do what you got to do. The only thing that would hold me back if I was an athlete from opting out of a bowl game is if I'm if you have a chance at the national championship, i.e. the top 4. If you got a chance to play for that and that weighs more on you, that means more to you than going pro, because obviously, both will mean a lot to high caliber player. But if that one means more than the other and you choose to stay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a legitimate, in my view, reason for that. All the other players in the smaller bowls and all like that, to Jen's point, if you don't think some of these players are already getting analysis, some picture of where they kind of are, in terms of where they may be in the end going to pros. If you need the game, if you need the bowl game, all right, play it. If you think that's going to help your audition, play it. But if not, just wait for the combine. Wait, wait for the, I forgot the name of the game that they play.
North South, one of those.
Yeah, whatever that is. Because all these scouts are there.
Senior Bowl,
right? Bowl. So if you don't think, especially, maybe not, obviously the top guys know more or less where they're at. Then that second tier, they're already getting an idea of where they're going to be. And if you make that decision, but in the end, if they just choose to sit it out, who cares? What is going to play for those little gift bags that they get in those bowl games by whoever's sponsoring it? Who the hell cares? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I look at it, which leads me to the coaches thing is if coaches can leave after they recruited a player, to your point, Jen, that's more insulting to me than in one player leaving a program. And I don't think college football players owe anybody anything except their own teammates and the coaches. I don't even think they owe the fans, because those tickets that the fans are paying for are not going to the players. So screw it. It's not like NFL players that owe it to their fans because they're getting paid for it. From that business perspective, college players don't owe anybody anything except their teammates and their coaches. So, and if there are coaches that are willing to be gone, then they can assert that same level of loyalty or disloyalty, however you want to see it, the same way that coaches can do it. And that's just how I view it. This is a business. It's been a business for at least 2 decades, if not more. And people got to stop viewing it as anything but that. And it's happening. The SEC is going to be the AAA of the NFL. That's what
we got to go real quick.
And anybody that sees it differently is an idiot. Honestly, that doesn't see what that's turning into. So you know what? In general, I'm for it. Unless you've got a legitimate reason, which for me is really only a national championship.
We got a good comment too coming up. Brulanda says, ask Willis McGahee about playing in the championship and that championship college game. He was just lucky that he was able to play again in the NFL. Remember, he got bad injury.
Jalen Smith more recently.
Yeah,
his stock dropped.
Look at that. Dre, what are your thoughts?
This is tricky. I think that a player that's good enough, let's call how many ever years he spent in college his first audition, first interview. If he knocks that shit out of the park and bowl game his senior year is like the second interview that kind of like makes or breaks it for someone who's on the borderline, and you don't need that, then you shouldn't be expected to play. You shouldn't be forced to play. It shouldn't be frowned upon for you choosing to not. But to me, there needs to be a step. These players owe the school at least giving them a heads up by a certain date, having an agent, officially declaring yourself as no longer an amateur. You have hopes of being a professional. And then I think it's fair game as far as the players being able to either say, listen, I'm going to sit this one out, or listen, man, I need this because right now I'm borderline second round. Maybe I get up into the first round if I have 2 interceptions or something. But then for me, nobody talks shit about these coaches bouncing.
You're right.
And it's way more egregious. They're sitting in these parents' living rooms and making promises. And sometimes the last lie that they tell is the little reason that a family chooses to go with you and not the other guy. So to me, the coach is leaving should be way, way, way more frowned upon because they have more of a responsibility to the university and to every player that's on the team. Player has a responsibility to his teammates, to show respect to his coaches. That's it. But at the end of the day, if it's being looked at the wrong way. It's always being put on Front Street, the players that aren't playing, that are sitting out. But what about these coaches, man? When are we gonna start talking about those guys?
I agree, man. I agree with that part of it, especially. So the part of the whole thing I was looking at, right, was okay. So I'd rather be solution driven because in the current state, I completely understand why a player is going to be like, nah, it's not worth it to me. It's just a bowl game. It's not what it used to be. It doesn't carry the same weight. It's not whatever, like past like the FBS bowls. After that, it kind of falls off dramatically. You know what I mean? So I get that part, making a business decision. I respect it. Here's where I think the game is going to change. I think the name, image, and likeness is going to change the game because now a lot of these players have quote unquote insurance. If you know, right, that you have 8 mil sitting in the bank, 5 mil sitting in the bank as an insurance policy, I think you're more likely, right? And here's where I would ask these big companies that are going to be endorsing, that are going to be pushing these athletes. I'm going to say, hey man, let's put some weight back into those bowls. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, my favorite night of the year or day of the year was New Year's Eve and New Year's. All those bowl games back to back. Some of them weren't worth anything. They didn't mean anything, but they had like this allure. They had this real, thing attached to them. And I think that with the name and likeness, I think that they have the power to do that again. They have the power to invest and say, hey, listen, we're going to invest in you in this. And we would like for you to be our face the day of this bowl game or whatever. Only because I feel like when bowl games are important, it's better for college football. You know what I mean? Because now you're not just looking at those couple of top-heavy games. Now you're looking down the entire – now you're looking at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Now you're looking at the Mama Said Knock You Out Bowl, the Toilet Bowl. You're looking at all those bowls. You know what I'm saying? Where before that, you're not really paying attention. Now you're not really paying attention to those. The other part of it is this. I agree with you guys about the coaching. I think that the issue doesn't lie at the feet of the coaches, though. I think it lies at the feet of the NCAA. Their greed and their want to still have power over, you know what I'm saying? They're a dying body. The NCAA is losing its luster. It's losing its power over the Power 5 conferences, over these players. Now, image and likeness has changed the game. They're losing a lot of power. So what they're doing is they're still holding on to this old way of thinking where they can put up barriers like, a coach. We're talking about the coach leaving. We're all clear that the coach is leaving because if he doesn't leave now, he loses out on the early signing period. He loses out on the early signing period or even early recruiting. You literally set your program back that you just walked into about 2-3 years. You literally set your program back. So they have no choice. They have to leave because it's set up that way. And that's where my problem is. My problem is not with the coaches. It's with the setup. And they're doing it now. They're going to eliminate the early signing period. So you could know where you want to go, but you're not going to be able to sign early. You're going to have to wait. And that's going to take the pressure off the coaches. So hopefully, and now again, I'm assuming that they're going to do the right thing. But if you throw $10 million a year at me, I might not do the right thing either. You know what I'm saying? So they might want to hold off now and say, okay, I'm going to see it to the end of the year. Because think about it like this, right? The guy Thibodeau, is it Thibodeau or I can't remember his name, but from Oregon, he's projected to go 1-2, right, this year. He's been there all along. His coach said, I'm not even going to see you in the bowl game. I'm out of here. You went to that college for that coach. You stayed the extra year for that coach. That coach looked at you in the eye and said, "We're going to fight for a national title. Stay," and you stayed. Now you expect me to have loyalty to a program when he's gone? The guy that I'm married to is gone. Hell no, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So what I'm hoping is that NIL is an insurance policy that actually helps the situation. That actually helps people, players want to stay and want to participate. Because like you guys said, as a fan, these bowl games, a lot of us are still married to the tradition, like the Rose Bowl, right? The Rose Bowl carries no weight in the national championship this year. None. Zero. But yeah, it's very nostalgic to us. You remember Michigan. You remember all these teams when they play in the Tournament of Roses. It's like, wouldn't it be nice for somebody to throw some money in there and kind of incentivize it again? You know what I mean? Have all the stars there. Have it all come back. I would like to see that. Will it happen? Hopefully, it's trending that way, but we'll see. My point, at the end of the day, though, the coaches, I don't think it's at their feet, man. I think they're kind of forced. As much as I don't like it, they're forced to make these decisions, because if not, their next program would be screwed.
And to your point on the coaches, the only thing I would give the coaches, for these movements is they have a short window to do it. They do have a short window to do it, which is like right after their last game, because signing day, it's only like a 3-week period.
Yeah.
Because if you do it really, really late, then those commits may not have an ability to pull back their commit and go to one of their other choices.
Pablo, I'll do you one better. Check this out. This is something we haven't addressed. We're in a COVID year. We're in a COVID year this year. These coaches don't even know how many scholarships they have. They don't know. If you're coming in, let's say you're Cristobal coming into Miami, you don't know who's going into the transfer portal because you're coming into town. You don't know who's deciding to transfer in because you're coming into town.
Yeah.
So basically, you don't have a hard number on how many scholarships you're going to have available, even when you do recruit. So imagine all that with a tight window.
I mean, I see that. Yeah. And I mean, I think I see the number of scholarships generally for schools going down. I can see big time programs having a smaller amount of scholarships, knowing that there's guys in the transfer portal that they can get. And I think you're going to start to see that as a trend in the coming years, as opposed to having 20 whatever amount of scholarships. It's going to be a lot less, and they're just going to get transfer portal. That's what Michigan State did. Michigan State almost half their team was transfers. Yeah. Look how, you know what I'm saying, and look how they were very competitive most of the year compared to their most recent history. But it's a difficult thing because it is an impact. Even these coaches moving, like, it's an impact to incoming recruits. Now you're already impacting students that are coming to play, partly for you as the coach. Brian Kelly was in some guy's family's house, eating barbecue, and takes the call and says, "Okay, yeah, I'm coming to LSU." And then he goes back and adds another plate of barbecue.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you supposed to do? And so if a player wants to be out for missing one bowl game after they've given blood, sweat, and tears to their team to better their own stock, I don't understand why, there are people that are just so, like, they're up in arms over it. I can understand, okay, you don't agree with it, whatever, that's cool. But like that Mike Leach, interview that Jen you sent.
Oh, he's a hypocrite, dude.
He's one of the biggest hypocrites. He left and didn't coach a bowl game. He left Oklahoma as the coordinator to take the Texas Tech job. And he's crying like that? Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
I got nothing for coaches, really. They're gonna do whatever they want. They could.
And that's fine, right?
I mean, it's a money grab too, right? If you're gonna get paid more, are you just gonna sit there? Do it. No, I totally agree with that. That's why I'm just there. Like, I don't get upset when a coach does it, because at the end of the day, it's we'll go back to what I've always said. It's a business decision. As much as you want to basically make the school, education, but like, these coaches are not there to basically, teach these kids basically their math or their dissertation or whatever it is. They're there to make them basically, they're there to basically win. And if they're not winning, It's a business, and if you're not winning, you're out. It's either you make the move or the university is going to make the move. Simple as that.
So, all right, guys, what do you call it? So check this out. We agreed that, sometimes sports, it gets into the mundane, it gets into the technical. We start talking about, NIL and Scott and all that serious stuff. So when we talked to pre-production, man, I had we kind of all got a little personal about sports. At the end of the day, this is called Sports is My Love Language podcast, right? And we all share a love of sports, right? So Javi, the other day, he posted something basically about how fantasy football has made him follow the entire league and was like a game changer for him, and had me start thinking about moments in time where sports either changed your life, affected your life, impacted your life. And I know Jen had said it really eloquently over our group chat. Just a special place, a special time, a special person, a memory, something that happened within sports that's personal to you. I'm going to ask the audience, if you can, please chime in, give us yours, let us know. We'll read it out loud. It's it's one of those things where everybody has a personal story. It doesn't have to be a Super Bowl, a World Series, or this or that. It could be something as simple as, I was here when this happened with this person and I'll never forget it. Or I was here at this time and this whatever, and I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? Or something like that. So we're going to start off. Let me tell you right now, people, Javi's going last because I'm not following him, bro. I'm not following him today, bro. Holy shit. Just to let you guys know, just give you guys a heads up. Sean, do you mind starting?
I'll start us off, no problem.
All
right. So it's funny. Mine happened to be a baseball game, right? 1996 World Series. Game 3. Yankees down 2-0 to Atlanta. All right. Andy Pettitte, 1-0. Like I remember watching inning for inning, like just the nerves, because I'm a diehard Yankee fan. 95 was a letdown. 94 was the strike. And it's just like we were on the verge of just doing something special and just waiting for that moment to break. We're getting to the World Series. We go down 0-2 at home, drop the first 2 games. Andrew Jones killing us at that point. And I remember this clear as day. I was in college. There was about 20, 30 deep in a little tiny room. And we were watching it on a small TV, this little small color TV. And 1-0 the whole game. And I remember Paul O'Neill's catch to right field. And I just remember the final out in that game. And I just said from that point on, I was like, we're winning this World Series. Like, there's just no way we're not winning this World Series. And just that feeling of my team finally getting to see my team like on the verge of winning a World Series. That moment was just like, to this day, I think of it and the hairs on my arm still stand up. And I'm just going to add a little tidbit to this too. A second little thing. It was a game that I was at too. A baseball game that I was at was one of these. It was like one of these crazy baseball games. It was the original game that started it all. Roger Clemens beaming Mike Piazza in the head. It was a Sunday night game.
That's a good one.
Sunday night game. And from that point on, it just went to shit. Like that whole saga series. I was at that game. It was a rain out. It was crazy shit. And that was it. That's my moments.
Jen, what do you got?
Okay, so my poor grandfather had the luck of having 5 granddaughters before he passed away. And he was amazing enough to teach the 3 oldest about baseball. And his team was the Mets. He was a diehard Mets fan. And, okay, I know. About 20 years after his death, I was able to meet Darryl Strawberry at the New York Auto Show. And it brought me right back to spending that time with my grandfather. And although the only name I could say at the time was Mookie Wilson, Mookie, because I was 4 years old, it just brought me right back. And then in September, my parents were visiting, and my dad and my mom said, "Oh, Felix," because my husband's a Mets fan. I changed to Yankees, but my husband's a Mets fan. And they said, "We have something for you." And they pulled out beach towel. It's 50 years old, in perfect
Oh,
condition, belonged
man.
to my grandfather. Needless to say,
that's
I have
beautiful.
commandeered it because
Yeah.
anytime I would see it growing up, I would think of him. Anytime my mom would be like, oh, who needs a towel? I would always grab Grandpa's towel. So that is my reason why I love baseball as much as I do, is because of my
Oh,
grandfather.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Jen. Pablo, what's your fondest sports memory?
I can't follow that. You know,
I'm sorry.
no, I should have gone first. You know, in terms of a direct, to me personally, yeah, I don't have, you know, a sports moment like that. I you know, I have a moment that a lot of other people probably felt at the same time I did it. Thousands, millions of people. And that was when, you know, after 9/11, the Mets were playing the Braves and Piazza hit that home run. You know, that's really like one of the more impactful ones for me. Because of that, it was, you know, recent, right? It was just not too long after it happened. It was one of the first sporting events we had in the area, you know, in the New York City area. So that kind of, you know, was like the first one. And then the one behind it, which is, for me, it was kind of the same thing. Later on in the year in the Super Bowl, when it was the Patriots, right? It was Brady's first Super Bowl, because it was the Patriots, right? And we had this, you know, go America, you know, let's go, you know, kill those bastards, right? When they won that Super Bowl in that exciting fashion with a vintage field goal, it was just added on top of that moment for me back, you know, even with the Mets game, you know, because of 9/11. So those really have been the two most impactful sporting, you know, events for me. Like I said, that was probably, you know, that was also thousands and thousands and not millions of other people probably feeling the same way.
Absolutely, bro. Hey, look, whatever. That's personal. That's dope. Dre.
Man, so I got 1999, the month of May. Manchester United is playing against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. And Bayern Munich's a team from Germany. They're like perennially a powerhouse team in the German Bundesliga, which is the professional league there. Manchester at that time was at the peak of their powers, seeking to win that Champions League final so that they could make it a clean sweep of Europe, meaning they would have won their Premiership League, the FA Cup, and the European Championship. But man, it started off bad. Bayern Munich. Everybody in Trinidad's a Manchester United fan, by the way, sidebar, because a guy from Trinidad and Tobago was on Manchester United's team. So during that time, Dwight York's on the team. The Trinidad's a sea of red when Manchester has played. So hence the reason why I started off being a Manchester United fan by default. But it wasn't looking good, Mike, and being somebody that played soccer, man, it came down all the way to the 89th minute, which is there's seconds left before the end of regulation, before Manchester United scores one goal. And the game is tied 1-1, and they celebrated so long that the referee had to add 3 extra minutes on before he blew the game off, before the beginning of extra time, overtime, we should say. Bro, they scored another goal in the time added on and won the game. My brother, we broke the floor in my grandmother's house. We broke the floor in my grandmother's house. It was like an earthquake. And it was 21 years ago, but I can never forget the moment, bro. Because everybody's already like, praise God, we scored 1. We're going to overtime. So you get to relax because we're not going to lose. But then 1 minute later, we score another one, and we're 1 minute away from winning everything. That was the best, most exciting soccer game.
That experiment ended a little bit sooner than
Is that one of the moments that helped you fall in love with sport?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, well, not follow up. At that point in 1999, I already knew I would be a professional. But it just showed me that you never give up, bro. You never give up. Even when it seems like it's over, it's never over, bro.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
that's my story.
Well, my story is when I was a kid, I used to play a game called Catch with my dad. Except I didn't have a dad, so I used to just throw the ball against the stairs.
Right.
I just, no. No, I got a story. What do you call it? So, Mike Tyson rules the world.
Yeah.
He is the baddest man on the planet. He is the most feared man on earth and one of those most popular athletes on earth. Okay? He's on a knockout streak. Everybody, he's selling pay-per-views. They don't last more than 1 minute. They're monsters. He's a monster. I'm at home on 91st Street in North Bergen, and we decide, my father's there, my mother's there, and we decide to order a pay-per-view fight. We order the pay-per-view fight, and it's Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. And we're watching this fight, right? Now, mind you, I'm a baby, man. And I'm like, Tyson, you can't tell me anything about Mike Tyson. There's nothing you could tell me that would have told me that Mike Tyson was going to lose or anything related to losing. Okay? Well, hello. Yeah. So I'm sitting there. Mike Tyson comes out sweaty with his white, thing, the black shorts, the black boots. All you hear is dong, dong, because he didn't come out to music. He never came out to music. He came out to this song. It's this Art of Noise by and Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey got it from Jack Dempsey. It's like the Art of Intimidation, and you would hear dong, dong, and Mike Tyson comes out, and the crowd goes insane. The crowd goes insane, right? So now that's it. It's just a foregone conclusion. Mike Tyson knocked this dude out. It's just a technicality. What happens? Mike Tyson's walking out on his walkout. Impressive as hell. Impressive as ever. Looks big, looks bad. My father looks at me and goes, he's going to lose. He looks like shit. I look at him like, are you crazy? Get the shot out. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm a little kid, so I'm like, nah, you're crazy. Looks at me dead in the face and goes, he's going to lose. He's going to get knocked out. I was like, there's no way in hell he's going to get knocked out. Lo and behold, round 8, Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, the biggest upset in the history of sports, numbers-wise, gets knocked the hell out by Buster Douglas. Yo, my face went like this. I just looked at this man like, you're officially God right now. Like, how the hell did you come out with that? And I remember he said it calm, crisp, and clear as day. And obviously I have other memories when it comes to sports, but I will never, especially with our relationship later on, how I hadn't met him, I hadn't seen him in years, and then we came across again. So I see my father, mind you, I hadn't seen him in 20, 25 years, almost 30 years. I see him again. We meet up. We became best buds. Like, we linked up. That was my buddy. He passed away from cancer. He was my buddy. And I'll never forget this guy, right? And later on in his age, he couldn't remember birthdays. He couldn't tell you when your birthday was. He couldn't tell you 99% of stuff. I remember one day we're at the casino just hanging out, and he looks at me and goes, hey, you remember what I told you? That Buster Douglas was going to knock out Mike Tyson? Clear as day. And I looked at him right in the face, and I got this, I don't know why. When he looked at me and he said that, I think I might have been 10 at the time. I was 10 years old all over again. It was the craziest feeling. When he looked at me and said that, I was 10 years old again. And I was like, holy shit. And it just reminds you the impact when you attach sports to a moment in time, you know?
Man, if there was only a sports betting app at that time, man, you could have just put in that
Oh
money
my
on Buster
God,
Douglas.
bro. Are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got some comments. What is your best memory? Okay. Ivan Figueroa, college football, ECU was Tulsa. Spent September 5th, 2010, final 51-49. Hail Mary throw. ECU wins the game. One of my first live experiences in college football, and probably the best college football game I've ever seen, to not because of the play, but the atmosphere. ECU Stadium, Dowdy Ficklin Stadium, just expanded to 50,000, and you could feel the energy. That's when I knew college football was better than NFL by a long shot. A school that most of y'all probably never heard of had one of the biggest. Oh, that's all home field advantages. That's awesome, bro. Hell yeah. Let's see, ECU, East Carolina University. Yeah, that's dope, man. Hell yeah. I could just imagine going to a stadium like that, the impact it has when you freaking never seen an atmosphere like that.
Right.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, the show closer, my man Javito. Javito, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so let's go to my most memorable sports history and moment. It's not the best moment in history for me, but for a lot of Giants fans, it was. February 3rd, 2008, the Giants were playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That week prior, I get news that, my father gets kidnapped. So that whole week, my whole family and I were going through a lot of thoughts. That weekend, we were supposed to go up to Orlando. And I just recently moved to Miami too at that time, like a month before that, as a matter of fact. So we're going up to Orlando. Family's asking me, hey, what do you want to do? With the whole situation, your dad. And I'm like, let's just try to live our lives as regular as possible. Let's go up to Orlando. We're supposed to go celebrate my cousin's birthday. Let's go. So we're up in Orlando, and then it's time to go back to Miami. A couple of family members are, we're all worried. We're all been in contact with all our family in Colombia because this all happened in Colombia. So, no news has happened. He's still kidnapped, right? But, there's been like conversations back and forth that, he's still alive. So we're watching. So it comes Super Bowl game. Game starts. We're watching the game. And, this is the most memorable point in my life because all I remember was my aunt just running into the living room. It just telling us, really, they killed him. And I just remember my cousin right next to me, Erica, and I just like fall down onto her. So like here I am watching my team in the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots, and I can't even watch the game right now because my mind's going all over the place that I just lost my father. So like, family's just talking. All of a sudden we get a phone call and it's my uncle right now. And my uncle right now, he's about to get released from prison, but he doesn't know what's going on. So everybody's just kind of like, yeah, everything's great. And everybody's just holding it in. So like, we're just playing the part right now, not trying to be all too emotional, even though everybody's just tearing up, crying all over the place. But it was that fourth quarter, right? That final giant drive that we all sat down to go watch it. Seeing Eli Manning get away, David Tyree catching it off his helmet, watching Plaxico Burress score that touchdown. For those 2 minutes, I forgot about what just happened. And that's the most memorable sport moment in my life.
That is, first of all, the fact that you're brave enough to even share that story with us, bro. It's an honor and a privilege to be on this show with you. That you would even share that with us and the audience, man. It's I'm lost for words. That's why I knew like you had to go last because everybody. What do you say to that? That is the, I guess the word antithesis.
But sports is my love language, right? Like I said, like for those 2 minutes, I got away from reality, and that's why I love to talk to you guys every single week. I love to see sports. One of the main things I will say is that when my father and I would talk, it was usually about sports. So like, it just came in hand. And like, like what we talked in pre-production, like 2011, Giants played the Super Bowl again against the Patriots, right? After that win, my whole family called me and basically said, you enjoyed this one, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, this one I did enjoy. And I just looked up to the sky, just wishing that didn't happen, but still, life is what it gives you, right? And you just got to take it.
Absolutely. See, when I thought about this topic, right, and we started to talk about it, and we kind of developed it into this is what I'm talking about. That moment in time where sports was your outlet, where sports helped you escape, where sports helped you get away, where sports didn't let you feel a certain level of pain, or stalled it for a few minutes. That's the beauty in sports. Sports is not a place where we live. It's a place where we escape. You know what I'm saying? It's a place where we're allowed to escape from reality, where we take a few minutes. It's why when we started this podcast, the one thing I always told you guys, I was like, I want this to be a place where you enjoy coming, where we sit here and we have fun. It's never a place where, oh man, I got to do this. It's, you come here and this is your 10, 15, 20 minutes, hour away from whatever responsibility you have, and you could escape. And I would really like for our audience to, let us know your story. I know plenty of people out there have a story about how sports has impacted them. And it obviously doesn't have to be, obviously story is very unique and very powerful. It could be something more subtle. I haven't had a great story. Everybody's had their own version of what sports meant to them and how it affected them growing up or what it meant to them, So we would love to hear from you guys. But now we're going to take the show back a little bit, and we're going to pull it into hot takes. We're going to go to our hot takes. Sean, do you have a hot take for this week?
I don't have a hot take, but after listening to this podcast, I might need a psychiatrist.
For real, right?
like seriously, I'm speechless now. No, I'm gonna pass on the hot take tonight. But that was a great story, man. That from the heart. That was a great story, Javi, man. For real.
It was powerful.
Yeah.
Jen, what's your hot take? Little Jen.
Okay, here we go. Okay. So, here, I want you to read this.
Tiger Woods is returning this weekend, not for his comeback tour, but his farewell tour. Boom!
She said.
Hey, she reads better than Floyd Mayweather. She reads a lot better than Floyd Mayweather.
He said that Tiger Woods is not returning this weekend for his comeback tour, but for his farewell tour. And the reason that I say that is because Justin Thomas was interviewed yesterday. He and his dad are also playing. His dad is a former pro. They are next door neighbors to Tiger Woods. And Justin Thomas said that if it wasn't for his son wanting to play this weekend, Tiger would not be coming back yet because he is not who he used to be. And Tiger actually hired a pro to help him get his swing back. So that tells you how much worse it is than we originally were expecting, because he said, I'm going to come back part-time. So I think bringing his son forward is basically his way of passing on that legacy and the Woods name, in all honesty. I think this is going to be maybe
So you think
a
he's
year
done?
or two, and then I think he's done.
Oh, yeah. Because everything I read was him saying, like you said, come back. I'm trying to come, make a tour, make a run, trying to kind of like influence the media that, I guess to get the spotlight back on golf. Because you know what it is, without Tiger, golf is pretty much dead
It's not
as far
the
as
same.
eyes. As far as eyes. And I think he was doing it kind of for the sport to put the eyes back. But now you're telling me his back is shot and his son, you think he's getting it in there for his son. Oh, wow. I didn't really know that.
Son, if you watch his son has the same exact movements as he had at the height of his game.
Oh, let's see. That's a bold hot take right there. That's Tiger Woods we're talking about.
Is he going Earl on his son?
Let me tell you, his genetics, he did a great job of passing them on when it comes to his golf game. And Saturday is actually when he and his son will be playing together. You can see it on TV. Saturday is the Pro-Am tournament. Right, Booger?
Okay. Hold on. Before we go on,
nice.
We got Mr. Bob Wentz has a what do you call it? A story. There you go. Okay, 1986 World Series. I'm passing Macy's on 34th Street, and there's a mob of people, including firefighters in their trucks, with lights going off. Of course, I thought there was fire in the store, but they were all standing around a guy with a book box listening, with a boom box listening to the Mets playing Boston. That's how much baseball means in New York. Hell yeah. Oh, I could just imagine that. Reminds me of the New York Yankees parades. I'm gonna tell a quick story.
10 wins.
I go to a Yankees Day, ticker tape parade after they win a World Series, right? And I go with my mom. It's like 98, I think it was. I go with my mother, right? And me and her are standing there. And at some point, she starts to get pushed towards the front. Right now, mind you, I'm the one that wanted to go watch the parade. She gets pulled towards the front of the parade, right? And as we go towards the front of the parade, I'm like, oh man, I'm losing. I gotta find my mother. I gotta get up to the front. And I'm like, yo, it's like trying to get past a mob of people, right? When I finally get to the front, apparently, somebody saw her, like, I guess, like not struggling, but like kind of like, trying to find a way, this lady amongst all these guys, and they grab her and they bring her over. And they sit her now next to Joe Torre. And my mom sat next to Joe Torre for like 20 minutes during the freaking New York Yankees parade. My mom has had the craziest luck. She's been on episodes of The Sopranos. She's been on all kinds of stuff just out of sheer luck. But that's her. All right. My bad, guys. I didn't mean to interrupt. All right. So
great story, bro. Are you kidding me?
Pops, where you at? Go ahead. What's your hot take?
I got a light-hearted hot take, but it's annoying me, really.
Go ahead.
What has happened to our NFL celebrations? Touchdown celebrations. What is this hippity hop thing that I keep seeing every damn week? Sorry for using the word.
That's the gritty, man. Come on.
Okay,
bro.
I was about to ask. Is a new thing from some music artist that I'm seeing, and even if it is,
it's a Florida thing, I think.
It's corny and it's pathetic for the realms of touchdown celebrations that has to happen in the NFL. I mean, come on, a little hippity hop, across the back of the end zone. Come on,
you're showing your age. You're showing your age right now, bro.
It's not my
kids, get off my lawn.
I don't care if it's a hip hop thing. It's corny. It's just corny.
What about the crane kick? You like the crane kick?
That's corny too, man.
No.
We need
what
coordinated.
About Odell Beckham?
I need coordination, rehearsed celebration by these NFL players instead of just like two or three of them just hoppity like it's Easter or something. So it's like
how about an old school Billy White Shoes Johnson? Just spin the football and just like like that. Why not that?
It's been annoying me all season long.
No, what about the Odell Beckham when he does the training video? Have you seen that one?
That was
hilarious.
But that's great. You see what I'm saying? Like,
that was hilarious.
People were doing different things, and now every week, all the same teams are all doing this little hippity hop. Like, come on, man, come on.
That is so funny.
At least do a backflip at the end of your
the running down to the end zone after a turnover. That's annoying too. That's getting like played out.
The Claypool thing was like I wanted to smack the shit out of him.
He's just well, I can't use the word I wanted to say, but it's like Just
Dumb.
please come up with better celebrations, guys. You guys,
Better celebration.
do we need to hire Chad Johnson to come down, Ocho, like just coach these guys?
Yeah, do a tutorial.
Terrell Owens.
Yeah, bring the two of them. Like, okay, here we go, guys. This is how you should do it. But yeah, that was kind of mine.
Dre, I know you got it. We went over this one. What's your hot take?
All right, man. So Mike knows. I'm not sure if everybody else knows. I'm pretty good at math. So LeBron's not breaking Kareem's record. LeBron's not breaking Kareem's record because he needs 2 seasons at 20 points a game for 80 games. And anybody who's been watching in the past 3 years can honestly tell me that in their expert sport opinion, that LeBron could give us longevity for 2 more full seasons. Mind you, they're not great. So he's not making these long runs in the playoffs like he was. Even though he didn't win, you feel dignified. You were there. You were one of the last 4 standing, something like that, last 2 standing. He's going to be on maybe a team that's in the play-in tournament this season. And next season's going to be even worse. So what does he sacrifice? His pride about his playoff run that he's been having? Or the success in the playoffs that he's been having? Or chasing this record and ending up with 3 losing seasons in LA back to back to back to go off with as retirement? What do you guys think? Which one you think means more to LeBron? The scoring title or his dignity as far as leaving the game?
Right? His legacy. Yeah, his legacy.
I mean, overall, yeah, it'll be his legacy, but I guess it just depends on okay, is he going to be constantly injured, you know, for the
Pops, next. It's not Pops. Remember the first 15? That man didn't nothing. Yo, he played almost every game.
No. What I'm saying, if he's missing a lot of games, right? Yeah. I think his legacy is the top. But if he's still relatively healthy, okay, if he misses like 10 games or something, you know what I'm saying? But he's still playing. I think he'll get there, and I think it'll still be something he can chase. And
he'll be cool?
That's what I'm saying. If not limp into it, you know what I'm saying? Like not like just because you barely played you played half a season. So
you think he'll be cool being on a 40 and 42 team for the next 2-3 years?
I guess it depends how weighted it is if the team is.
We have to ask.
That's my question. My question is, how thick is his skin to not listen to the critics? Like, you're LeBron, you're breaking down, you're a bum, and because just stick with it and get to that record.
He wants to be in the Jordan conversation, and if he goes on those 42 and 40, he's not going to be in that conversation.
Not at the end of your career. You're not.
Theoretically, it could be because it wasn't like Jordan was on a winning team at the end of his career either.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years on the Wizards.
People have selective memory when it comes to Jordan. You know what I'm saying? They kind of like.
I understand the last 2 years on the Wizards wasn't the greatest as a
but he put up good numbers.
Aspect, but he still put up good numbers, and I don't think I think LeBron could do the same thing.
And that's what I'm saying. If it looks like that, then it's fine, But if he's, always hurt and he's coming off the bench and he's been relegated, that no, I mean, I don't think he sees himself doing that.
You see, I look at it differently, right? I look at it like this: there's 2 choices. Either I'm chasing Jordan, and I bow out gracefully on top, so that I could be compared to him, or I chase Kareem's record, and kind of that says, okay, I'm no longer chasing Jordan. Now I'm taking a different avenue. I'm chasing Kareem. Because he will look, I'm not saying he's going to go, he's a triple-double machine still. He's all that. Let's say he drops down to 18 and 5. You think LeBron James, 18 and 5 on a losing team? I doubt it. I don't think so.
He won't do it.
So. He won't do it. He's very well aware of his legacy. And he, like I said, he's chasing Jordan. And if he were to do that, he would no longer be chasing Jordan, because 2 to 3 years of LeBron James going 16 and 4 or 18 and 8 points and 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Yo, the media, everybody would tear him apart.
Exactly.
Because
but Mike,
they're
I
comparing
think
him
the
to Jordan.
switch. I think the switch has already been flipped. I think in LeBron's mind, he already knows he's not winning another championship, so it's that record or bust.
Yeah,
but he could also be 18-5-3, but he's on a team that has a young star, and he's not the number one.
But that's okay. So let's say
those are the circumstances. If
the
he's
way the
limping
Lakers
into
are made
that
up right now, the way the Lakers are made up right now, I don't see that happening. There's a bunch of old guys. They gotta get rid of all
only
those
team LeBron could possibly go to next is the Knicks. As far as his legacy goes, that's the only one that fits his criteria. And the Knicks don't have a development.
It'll be perfect. Then they'll suck still, and then he'll suck. And the Knicks will still suffer. So I'm all for that. So I'm okay with that.
But let me bring up like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. His last 3 years weren't that great statistically.
Of course
not. You know what I'm saying? He went from being 20 to basically dropped out. His final year was averaging 10.1 points a game.
But that's why when we say Jordan, right? Yeah,
we say Jordan because we grew up with Jordan, but older heads still say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
We remember old ass Kareem. So what will happen? People are going to remember old ass LeBron. I don't think LeBron is going to want to go out like that. Where people remember old ass LeBron, because just like with Kareem, basketball heads,
a young Lou Alcindor is just as bad as LeBron James.
You know what?
Oh yeah, monster.
But the different, you know what the real difference? I mean, in these type of conversations, you know what the real difference is? The amount of coverage that is out there. Because what would have been said about Kareem on his last, like you said, his last couple of seasons?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that we have to take that into account.
Of course.
Well, the whole thing, the thing about it is that they still went to the championship game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And he was on class teams.
But there was players.
It wasn't him. It was James Worthy, Magic Johnson, and every. Scott, you know what I'm saying? Byron Scott. So I get it, but you know what? Like, does LeBron get to the point of basically understanding like he's not that guy anymore? Does he?
Right.
And I'm trying to understand like what Dre's trying to ask, and I'm just gonna say, you know what, man? Throughout your whole life, you've been number one. That's it. Like number one. Does he have it in him to basically take a step back and say, all right, you take over? I don't know.
To beat Peyton Manning and know that it was because of the Broncos defense that he won that Super Bowl. Can he do that?
That's basically what it's going to come down to. Does his ego let him do that?
Exactly.
You know, and I don't know. Because his let's just say career has been built on an ego, right?
Yeah.
Like he was put on the pedestal from day one and he ran.
The chosen one.
You know what I'm saying? Then now he's like the king, you know? So like these are all things that I'm wondering if the king is ready to basically pass that crown on his own team.
Right.
You know, because that's what's got to happen eventually, you know, because if he wants to keep on playing, that's one thing. But I don't think he's going to be LeBron James or what we saw let's just say, not even last year, the years before that, because even last year you saw him breaking down a little bit, right?
He misjudged. He thought Anthony Davis was going to be that person to pass that crown.
He didn't realize
but Anthony Davis is top 5 talent, but not top 5 performer.
Well, he's Saquon Barkley.
Top five fragile player in the NBA.
He's Saquon Barkley. He's Christian McCaffrey.
My girl can't stand him.
Who?
You say, Andre, stick to Steph Curry and leave LeBron alone. He will get another ring and beat the record. All right, guys. Yo, big game tonight. We got Chargers. We got Chiefs. Chargers, Chiefs. Javi, what's your score for tonight?
What do you think, bro? 29. It's a tie today, baby.
29. Sean, what do you got?
But it's not surprising.
I got 24-17 Chiefs.
24-17 Chiefs.
Yes.
Nice.
Jen, what do you got?
It's her pick. Thursday Night Football is weird, so why not just let her pick? Go ahead.
She's gonna hit it right on the money.
No. What did you say? 20, 25 Chiefs, right? Tell them.
25 Chiefs.
28-25 Chiefs. And tell them why did you pick the Chiefs?
Because I like their
Now it's time to see if Father's really riding with Herbert.
She likes
Father,
the
really
colors of
riding with
your
Herbert?
uniform.
What you got?
Me?
Yep.
34-24 Chiefs.
34-24 Chiefs. Okay.
It's a shootout.
Dre, what do you got?
I think because Kansas City is drawing a lot from their defense recently, it's going to be a lower scoring game than that. I figure it's going to be 24-14.
24-14.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with Pablo on this one, man. I'm thinking it's gonna be a shootout. I'm hoping it's a shootout. I'm hoping Chiefs 35. I'm going Chiefs 35, Chargers 28.
29.
Yep, 29.
29.
Yep.
I need a shootout
All right,
for
ladies
my
and gentlemen.
gambling.
This has been the Sports is My Love Language podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Just so you know, you got a little glimpse, man. Sometimes, we share a little bit of ourselves and our sports journey. But I think based on the show, you can tell everybody has a deep passion for sports. Everybody really enjoys what's going on. So we invite you into our little living room every Thursday night, 7:00. Join in. Let us know what you think. The more participation, the better. We're really trying to grow the channel, and we're trying to grow the group. So join us, comment, post, share, let us know your thoughts. And we still definitely want to hear everybody's sports story. What's your sports story that hit you home? Obviously, you heard our panel and our guys all come hit a home run with their story. So, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great night. This has been the Sports is My Long Language podcast, and we are out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Bye-bye.